Hey guys, welcome to another journaling video. Today's video is about oh hey, fun exercises that I do on a regular basis. I didn't even realize this had exercise book written on it. Exercise book in this case is technically supposed to mean like written stuff that you're supposed to be doing, not necessarily fitness. So, a bit of a play on words there. My apologies, guys. I do have to stay hydrated today. It's so dry. It's nasty. And Sir Edmund Hedgeworth Hiss is with us again, but he's still not really keen on coming out and telling us if we're doing anything wrong or not with our journaling. So he's just here supervising, really. Anyway, I wanted to focus a fair few of my videos on how to do journaling on a budget, because there's so many videos out there with these like $20, $30, $40 books, and I'm thinking, not everybody can afford that, you know? And you know what? If you can't afford a $20 journal, that's fine. This one, let's see, for my Aussie friends, I'll go ahead and I'll tell you, this is not a sponsored video, by the way. I got this from Flash Harry's for $1.50. If you can't afford 20 bucks, maybe you can afford $1.50. I found places where you can get them, I think 64 pages for what, 45 cents? Something like that?
65.
Yeah, it was somewhere around there, 65 cents or something. So it wasn't even $1. So I'm thinking, hey, that's not too bad. Now, this is a sizing I'm not quite familiar with yet. I just call this wide rule, because I'm familiar with wide rule and college rule. College rule is narrower, wide rule is obviously wider. And, you know, it's got its own attempt at style on the cover, but hey, you know, it's to be used. You can decorate it however you want, and you know, you find like a packet of stickers for $1, and there you go. You know, there's some fun stuff, and you can just write on the cover whatever it is you want that book for. And yeah, you can draw on it as well. My other half is making suggestions. That's cool. So the first thing that I always do with my journals is, as you guys know, I create an index. So the first 2 pages were dedicated to an index, which I didn't really need 2 pages, but I didn't know that at the time. So I know next time I only really need 1 page for an index. And that's, of course, given that it's a 64-page book. And I can then gauge what size my index needs to be according to how much information is going to be in the book, because I now know. Well, anyway, I've got the various sections or chapters, however you want to label that, as well as page numbers. So we see 1 and 2 is the index. Then we've got, starting on page 3 and going through page 10, that's the November fitness training. And I have listed just underneath that with an indentation. So that way I can definitely see a difference between my sections here, the dates that those pages cover. And you can see that this book starts with the 21st of November. It doesn't start with the 1st of November. No, the 21st. And it goes through that month. Then we skip, because that's the dates for November. And then December fitness training starts on page 12. So, oh, wait a minute. If this ends on 10 and this starts on 12, then where's 11? Well, we see page 11 down here, and that's the November fitness review. And I just kind of failed to fit that in where it should have been. So I can just put that below, and that's fine. And I just put the December fitness review in as well. You can see up here with the December fitness training, I put the dates in as well for that. And then 44 through 64 is the January fitness training, and it's the 1st through the 21st. So I'm going to take you to that page. I'm going to show you something about this because people have wondered. So I'm just going to prevent you guys from seeing things you might not care to see there. It's just some inspirational pictures for me and kind of where I want to go with my fitness. So it's not really necessary. Here we see January 21st is on a Tuesday. There's the year. That day is important. That's the 36th day of my second 100-day fitness challenge. And then we look back here and we find page number 63. So this one is page number 64. So when they say 64 pages, they mean 64 pages if you count front and back of each page. So I thought I would tell you guys that in particular. Because sometimes you'll get a product that will say 64 pages, but it's actually double that. Or it'll say 64 pages and it's actually half that. So you do have to be aware of what that really means. And if you don't want to count all the pages, the easiest way to do it is to go to the middle of the book. So you find where this bonding is in the book, and then you count to that or you count from that. So I've talked to you about the index. Now I'm going to see what next page is right quick. Yes, I don't mind you guys looking at that, because sometimes I do use this for more than just fitness. Sometimes I will talk about how I felt that day, maybe why I didn't do a certain exercise, and maybe I shifted furniture at my house or helped someone else shift some furniture, those kinds of things. So I don't always want people's names showing up. So I just wanted to look and see if any of that was in there. This one is the first one I did in a solid bound book, because all the rest of the fitness paperwork that I had done was stuff that I could remove from a compendium. So they had little ring holes that I could use to clip them in and out and, you know, make changes as necessary. But this was the first solid bound that I had ever done, and you can see it's still organized. You can see I've had some practice over the years, but still it's a little bit rough. You know, it's all over the place, because this information is supposed to belong to this, and this information is supposed to help me count this, but it's just not that easy to read unless you know what you're looking at. And if you're wondering what some of this stuff means, by the way, go to AthleanX either on YouTube or athleanx.com and check out what Jeff Cavalier has to say. So I'll spell that for you right quick so you know how it's supposed to be spelt. Alright, you've seen that. Now I'm going to erase it. Again, this is not a sponsored video, so he hasn't asked me to put that in there. I just decided to tell you guys that, because that's going to help you better understand what this stuff means. And by the way, these are a lot harder than I thought they would be, and admittedly, I kind of gave up doing them after a while. I know that's naughty, but I did. Here we can see the various sets that I did, and I was counting repetitions. And here we see the style that I was performing these in, so my arm elbow position. And here we see what I actually managed to do. So this was just, all of these were performed halfway up and halfway down. And then these were obviously performed halfway up and halfway down. So I couldn't fully do either of these. I could do these, the incline push-ups from my knees, in full. And the first set that I did 3. The second set, I was able to do 6, and then I doubled that again when I did 12 for my last set for that day. So you see how this works. And here I've got numbers, so that way I could reference back, and it just made it a little bit easier to understand this. I also made sure that I had my focus for the day put up here, and this is a little chart to help me identify where I was with this thing that Jeff calls slices. And I called them 9-to-1s when I first started doing them because it helped me remember what they are actually. And I won't go into any description except to say that this chart really helped me because I could just go through and in pencil check off what it was I had done. And then when I completed that on the left hand side, I could grab one of my pens and then just write in the kilo weight of the dumbbell that I was using. So that worked out really well. I'm just going to have another look. Oh, before I change the page, you can see I started, on a Thursday. That was last year. And then day 1, I misnumbered that because I was like, oh yeah, I'll start counting now. But that wasn't exactly accurate because I actually started my real fitness training back around the 4th of August in 2019. So it's not entirely accurate. Let me see. Yep, I don't mind you guys seeing this. So here we see the very next day, my focus has changed. So now it's on deltoids. So that said, I checked out Athlean-X for what I needed to do for deltoids and what he recommended. So I used what I thought would work out really well, and I'm happy with the results, by the way, guys. I tested something. I had always done lateral raises just the classic way. So I did some of those, and I wasn't happy. I didn't feel like I was getting anything. But then when I did this suggestion that he just kind of made in passing in one of his videos to do them as slices, I really felt it. And I felt like I was getting somewhere, so I just dropped doing just counting reps and went into the slices, and I love that. And I've started to agree, as a level 1 all-star cheer coach, I must say, it's not about the reps, it's about quality, not quantity. And the 9-to-1s, his slices, kind of make you think about the quality of the motions that you're performing. So that was something I held on to. I thought that was really good, and it's really given me some results that I can look at and see in the mirror. It's so cool. And then here we see that I was still studying spin pole. I was in level 2, and apparently that day we got shown the upside down crucifix. And that is definitely a full body workout, guys. So I listed that as part of my fitness for that day. And that's important too. Other various things that you do that maybe aren't part of your usual program, you want to list. If you've been moving furniture, put that in. Maybe you helped move a piano, which isn't normally something you would do in a gym. Okay, you go ahead and list that because that's pretty full on. All right. I'm just gonna check and see. Let's see. Yep. This is important too. I wanted to list this for you guys. Again, we see the focus has gone back to biceps and pectorals. And we see here, I'm a little bit more organized. It's making a bit more sense now. That block is still there. That's useful. All these little identifiers are still here. And we see this section is much more organized as well. And, oh, gee, what are these dots and these numbers down here for? They don't seem to associate with anything. Well, if we look up here, we see in the notes section, it was a hot day. I had no energy for push-ups. And so my first set, oh, that must be that, was done at 2:15. The second one was done at 3:15. and the third one was done at 5:15. So I didn't do them all in quick succession. And I wanted to make sure I understood that, and I wanted to make sure I remembered that on a hot day I didn't have any energy, and that is quite common. We can see here that I didn't really build evenly this day, because with my bicep curls I did a lot of right side work, and yeah, my left just kind of existed and I gave it some attention. Here we see I went through a fair few of my push-ups, and I wrote down, you know, what happened there. Again, my inclines were full, but these twisting ones and the laterals only did really half. And this first section here in front of the slash is when I'm going down into the push-up, and then this half is when I'm coming up out of it. So obviously my elbows and hands in the cobra position for this knee push away. I could go down properly, but God only knows what the frack I was doing when I was trying to get out of it. I don't know what you would call that. And that was pretty much with all of these. The first set that was 6, the second set that was 8, and then the last set that was 6. So that gives you some idea what I did there. And then there was my homework from what I do at the gym. So let's see. What else have I got for you guys? I'm going to throw you forward a little bit into December. I'm going to throw you forward to December the 30th, because all I have here is hairstyling, and you'd think that hairstyling is not a form of fitness by any stretch of the imagination. Okay, for some it isn't, but if your arms are as weak and as small as mine are, it can be, because I was making my own dreads, and I was making them while I was installing them. So I was doing braiding and twisting and weaving and installation all in one, and my arms were up around my head for about 3 to 4 hours every day for about a week, I think it was. So when it was done, I actually gained muscle out of it in my deltoids and biceps, and I was like, wow, who knew? But the burn that I got from doing that, I thought, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and list it. It might sound a little weird, but even if I didn't do anything else that day, that deserves to be noted. So it got written in. There is a section here where I list days when I've gone, say, to the club and I've been dancing there, and I do actually consider that something that I should put into my fitness journal. Why? Because dance is fitness, okay? It's something that I consider part of it, so I go ahead and I put those in. Here you can see where I've started using different colors to identify different sections, so it looks a lot different from that first one that was so very messy and just all over the place. Look at this. This is so much more organized, guys. And after a while, you learn what you need to write and how you need to book it in so it makes sense to you. Like, this makes no sense to most people. I can tell you, this is the Baby Shark Ab Challenge. I did start it earlier, but I had to start it back over because I missed a few days, so fine. And it just happened to line up with January the 1st, which means I can just look at the date and know where I am in the challenge. So by the time January is over, I'm done, and I get to see my results. So it's nice and easy that way. Now, I mentioned this in one of my earlier videos, the one that talks about the tools that I use for journaling. That's where this comes in. This little pink slip was essential to organizing this a lot more neater. There was a time when this took up 3 sets of lines because I wrote out every one of these sections of this exercise out in full. So that was baby shark, that was mommy shark, that was daddy shark, that was grandma, that was grandpa. This one was before let's go hunt. This was run away. This was safe and sound. And this was it's the end. So now they're much shorter in abbreviation. And it takes up a lot less space. Here we can see clearly that I did not do this stuff. This chart is still here, so very useful, and I change the look of it sometimes so it doesn't, you know, become monotonous. Here we see this information has changed and been corrected accordingly. We see the focus has still been listed, and your focus may change, you know, so don't go filling out these things too far ahead of time, because you may find that, oh, hey, I don't want to work on this anymore, so you need to do something else. Here, this is nice and organized. What I decided to call it, I just kept that name, so 9 to 1s, bicep curls, and we've got repetitions, kilos, and the side that it's in relation to. And why did I go for this slanted look? Well, I just thought it looked nicer, that's all. And you can see this day I only used 2 kilo weight, but the length of time that it took me to do these as opposed to the length of time that it took me to do the first set I ever did of the slices was completely different. I think it took me about 8 minutes to do each one of these, whereas before it only took me 3 minutes to do each one of these full 9 to 1s. So 16 minutes total roughly for left and right, because I do them alternating. And then versus, say, 6 minutes at the most for when I first started, and yet I was using heavier weights, and I can tell you the burn was still there when I did that on the first. Here we just see I've put ticks in these boxes to say I've done these. When I first started trying the Baby Shark Ab Challenge, there were a few sections that I liked the burn of more than other sections. So like, what was it? Grandpa Shark got like 5 ticks on a few of them, and Baby Shark got a few instead of just 1, because I could really feel the benefit. So I focused a bit more on that. And here we just see a slash through run. I have a click in my hips, so I don't do mountain climbers. I just don't do it. It doesn't feel healthy. It doesn't feel right. So, So I do all of the shark challenge with the exception of runaway. Here we can see I didn't do any timed pole workout that day. We can see there was definitely a stretch session. And I was basically just stretching while I was working on some journaling. Nice and simple. And here we can see I didn't do any dance practice or study that day. Now, moving over here, we can see the focus has changed. It's still nice and beautiful. You can look and see definitely that there's a difference between these various sections, because there's different colors used for different things that I'm trying to achieve. And this doesn't necessarily mean I've done it all at home. It doesn't mean that I've done it all at the gym, nor does it mean I've done it all at the studio. It means that whatever fitness thing that I consider important enough to document has ended up in here. That's all that means. So I've still got my little chart, the day of the week, the year, the day of my 100-day challenge, the date, my focus. I didn't do any side lateral raises that day. I love booking it this way. It's so much easier, and I'll show you guys in another video how to do that, and I'll show you guys in another video exactly how I did this. And this is all of that Baby Shark Ab Challenge that used to take up like that much space on my paper. Now it just takes up that. And as you can see, check marks with the exception of that. I didn't do the time full workout. I did do a stretch session. I did study or practice some dance. So it looks like I studied, that's what the S is for, the Hip Hopping Club. I did actually practice some belly dance, and I studied some b-boy. And I did do some partner stunting. So that's important. That's a biggie. And I listed how long that lasted. So, I hope this has been beneficial to you guys. Watch for the video on journaling with me. If you like this style and you want to give some of these exercises a go, or you want to do something similar, then you can watch how I make these various sections in my own books. Hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I've enjoyed sharing it with you, and someday maybe we'll get Sir Edmund out visiting with us. Who knows? Anyway, have a great day. Thanks for watching. Cheers.